Tony! Fuck you, Tony! What's your name? Ezekiel! Fuck you, Ezekiel! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Whoa, had to switch up on the flow, gotta keep them on their toes. I move quick, I make the most, why they copy what I wrote. Follow everything I post, never trip about a clone, cause they know what's a sheep to a goat. Yeah. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise they ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making G's like Mercedes-Benz. Whoa, hey, please don't take offense. It isn't you, I'm just not interested in making friends. My biggest fear is finding out that this came and went. So go ahead, but I'm staying in.
No, hold on. Let me finish my point, you jerk.
You don't call your dad a jerk.
Well, you're being a jerk.
We just had one of our guests on, Jason Fry, talking about the Celtics are going to win their 19th championship. So what have you got to say about that?
Who this Jason Fry character is, he was talking about doing hard shit. Well, his prediction is bullshit. Okay. All right.
I have a feeling we're about to be joined by Sir George. He normally comes out of the black hole. Oh, there he is. Sir George. He is
it's
back.
Hey, what's up?
Well, I just want to say, are...
Hey, Jerry. Hey, Jerry. I just sold Jerry a joke. Hey, Jerry. You said, well, this ain't your number one. You're number one, Jerry. Number one.
Oh, my God. We're moving on. We've killed the Cowboys. Matter of fact, get out. I'm tired of talking to you. Give me freaking JJ. Bring JJ on the show. Holy crap. Let's hear his opinion about this damn trade and why they made this decision. I think you're trying to cover your own ass right now and just not admit you were
ninth in the country.
I think you're just trying to cover your ass right now. And
you know what? I got a big ass, so
that's a lot of
cover. Take a lot of cover. It take a blanket, damn it.
More like a drape.
Did you just pull a drape? Is that so I can open it up when I need to go?
Hey, you're getting too deep into this.
Rivalries make sports great, but they got to be on the same level. And I'm sorry, Angel Reese ain't on the level of Caitlin Clark. Like, it's not Magic Bird.
If you don't want to commit to it, take your ass and be a PE all-star.
First off, you need to get your facts effing straight.
How do you like me now? What? You're the coach. Shut up, dude. All you haters, shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up. Whoa. I won 5 Super Bowls, damn it. How dare you call the Cowboys a shit team? Watch the Cowboys. It'll be fun, they said. Bloody fucking hell, it was no fun.
It was like riding a train around one of the Kardashians' asses, and you just disappear into this abyss of ice. Somehow he talked about buttholes that made me hungry for a PBJ sandwich. It's 35-7, and it's only 7 because you just scored. Shut up.
Are you telling me coaches like Coach Popovich does plays in spaghetti noodles?
The thing about Coach Popovich is he actually liked to use popcorn with super glue.
Popcorn with super glue?
Yeah, he would put super glue little magnets on the bottom, and then he would arrange them on the board, and he would like color them different colors, and that would signify the opponents. And yeah.
Are those the players?
I don't want to give away any industry secrets on that particular thing, but yeah, I'm just gonna say you gotta. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm saying no more.
And they're playing with sticks, and they're playing with a little puck all the time.
Expert analysis right there. They play with sticks and pucks.
Trying to grow the game, man. Global game.
These people, they don't give a damn.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
Yes, folks. Welcome back to On Time Sports Talk. And your ass should be calling somebody because the self-proclaimed greatest in the podcast game is here. That is myself, Casey, the Remix Schedule, and the Bald and the Beautiful, who actually logged in first today. That's why he's on top up there. Eddie, the original schedule. Introduce yourself, even though I just did it.
That would be a little redundant. Howdy. Welcome. Got a lot to get to. Got football, and some
Yes, sir.
craziness stuff going on. So looking
Yes,
forward to
no
this.
WNBA. Thank God. You were.
Yeah, well, I might have something to say
No, we don't.
about
No.
Sophie.
No.
There was
It's
a
not
little
on the
okay.
rundown.
Listen. There was a little bit of a dust up against one of your favorite people, and Sophie. Skip Bayless.
She's injured. She ain't dusting
Skip
over nobody.
Bayless.
That's your favorite guy.
Oh no.
All right.
I can't.
Well,
Skip Bayless could go on Colin Cowherd's show and be just fine, and I would never watch or hear from them ever again.
Okay.
All right.
Are you done?
No, I got a lot more. I'm just getting warmed up.
Yeah. Well, that's good because we are getting to the start of the show, obviously. We got, big trades seem to happen the day after we do a show. All right. It happened with Luka. Because that happened in the middle of the night on a Friday, and that's when we're live on Thursdays. Micah got traded last week. We'll get into our thoughts about that, and we'll preview Dallas and Philly tomorrow night. Then we're going to talk about the last 4 episodes of the documentary on Netflix, our little wrap-up on that one, and some interesting takeaways from that. College football was finally in full swing this past weekend. We're going to talk about our interesting observations from this past weekend, and the new AP rankings came out earlier today, I do believe. So we're going to see what they got right, what they got wrong. Then we're going to pick our NFL division winners. Then we got our games. Picks with Pops is back. One of my favorite segments, Picks with Pops. And then, of course, the old man's got making the most of his moment. We got our whiskey of the week and kind of some closing stories to wrap it up and our tidbits to end it up. But let's get into Micah is now a Green Bay Packer.
Whoa. Our favorite fan out there is waiting for a joke.
Well, she hasn't commented in weeks. I don't even know if she's watching.
She looks at it. I think she looks at the recording more than she does the live one.
Live. Anyways,
but
go ahead. For the folks who don't know, we start the show generally with a awful attempt at comedy. So go ahead, old man. See if you can finally make me laugh.
Again, it's another riddle. How many ears does Captain Kirk have?
Isn't every dad joke a riddle? But how many ears does Captain Kirk have?
Did Kirk have from the Starship Enterprise?
Yeah, I know Star Trek. I don't know. Hit me.
He has the left ear, the right ear, and the final front ear. Dun, dun, dun. And the final front ear. Live long and prosper.
Wow.
Well, here, let me use my messed up finger, then it looks even cooler.
No. Aren't you supposed to get that finger checked out at the VA or something?
Yeah, I did have an MRI, and you know what they say? There's nothing wrong with your finger. Well, folks, look at my finger. It's bent. And they said there's nothing wrong with it. So, but they're going to go back in and look again because there's obviously, I'm not just giving people the bird anymore. I'm giving them a little dinosaur.
Yeah. All right, let's get away from your finger tragedies. Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer. You thought they were going to work it out. I thought they were going to work it out. We were obviously both incorrect on this assessment. And Jerry said goodbye. What are your initial, well, not initial because it didn't just happen. We've had about a week to digest it. You think it was the right move, the wrong move? Ultimately, would it be a good move, bad move? What was your impressions of the trade overall?
Well, I think time is going to tell. But from the initial onset, I think it's a bad move for a defense that has already had struggles. Now, I get it. They bring in Canty, right? Am I saying it right?
Who?
Oh, the new defensive tackle. What's his name?
It ain't Canty. Holy crap.
Where did I get the name Canty from?
Chris Canty used to be a defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys.
Maybe because I've been listening to him so much. But
Maybe.
here's how I'll rephrase that. We're going to see, can't he stop the run? Even though that's not his name, obviously. But that was Jerry's excuse, was that they needed to stop the run. But this was all about ego. That's all it was. It's all about ego. Jerry got his feelings hurt. But there was, now things start to come out about Micah, and I wasn't impressed with when he got the contract with Green Bay. All he was talking about, look, I got my money. I'm the highest paid. I got my money. I got my money. And I said it last night that when he did his press conference, I didn't hear a whole lot about winning a championship. All I heard was about everything that was bad in Dallas and how he got his money. So I'm going to wait and see because the other thing is Micah was a lifelong Cowboy fan. That was his dream. And from the replays and the highlights I've seen of him practicing, he don't look like the same Micah. And they're still talking about his back issues. So we're going to see. Time is going to tell whether this was a good move or not. Obviously, from the onset, everybody's pissed off about it, or most people are. But I do think now they got 2 first-round picks. Depends on how that goes, to see what happens.
Yeah, I think ultimately the initial reaction of the trade was, how could you do this? All that type of stuff. And I just think it got to an irreputable situation, and I think the timing of the trade in the league year, you weren't going to get what you would have got before the draft. Ultimately, I think that was I initially gave this trade a C. I would give it probably a C plus or a B minus right now. I do think you may have been able to squeeze a couple out, keep a couple draft picks from maybe another team. I don't know. We haven't got how many teams were actually interested. But yeah, you don't want to see him go. He is a top 2 or 3 pass rusher in the league, and I think he's an above average run defender. I don't think he's an elite run defender in his realm. He's a hell of an athlete, but he was all about me. You heard it from his former teammates. Jordan Lewis talked about him being all about himself. DeMarcus Lawrence, when he left and went to Seattle last year, talked about it when he left. And then I'm brain farting. There's another one. But there's been 3 or 4 teammates that came out, and you listen to Dak's press conference after the trade. It wasn't like he was too sad about it. So Micah was all about his podcast and himself, and
Well, how many?
Hold on. The thing that really struck me was earlier in this offseason, he was like, I just want to be in the best situation. What's the difference between 30 and 40 million? Well, you got offered 40 million by the Cowboys, as Jerry Jones told Stephen A. Smith in that interview. And at that time, it would have made you the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the game. Now, that would have changed pretty quickly. But ultimately, you got offered the money that you should have been offered. So,
I thought Micah was playing this right the whole time during training camp, and it turns out that I felt like I was on the wrong side of this on cheering for on the Micah side because
How many times during the season do we say, Micah, just shut up? Micah, just stop.
you said
Micah,
it like
stop
every
talking.
week.
And so they're obviously, he was not the greatest teammate, so to speak.
What's up with the chair appearing and disappearing in the background?
I know. You know what? Hang on. I'll be back. Let me fix that. It's very weird because these
It's very
chairs.
distracting. I'm sitting there trying to listen to your counterpoint, and I'm like, holy crap. But we have told him to shut up many times and play football and just be about it. And, I guess part of that's the modern day athlete when you say that. But, so yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what's up with these chairs. Maybe it's because they're pink and they thinks it's skin color. And they continue to come back. So there we go.
So Micah's a Packer. I was surprised Jerry traded him to someone within the NFC. I thought it would have been an AFC team. Packers come back here week 4. That'll be a huge headline, obviously, if he's playing. And we'll see what long term it is. You're right. Depends what these picks turn out to be. Do they package them to move up for a primetime player somewhere? I know your original scenario when we talked on the phone the other day was Arch Manning. We'll get into Arch a little later in the show. No need to go into that right now. But yeah. But at the end of the day, Cowboys have a game tomorrow against Philly. What are you expecting to see against Philly?
Well, we're going to learn really fast if this defense can still hold its own. A lot of them, Schottenheimer talking about, the one defensive end, Houston, and how fast he's getting off the ball and all this stuff. But I think we're going to find out really fast because you're going up against a team that has a supreme running game. And that has been the Achilles heel. I think Dallas, with Diggs back in the lineup, Bland now under contract, I think they're solid at corner, but it's up the middle that we still need to see something from this team. And then obviously with Micah gone, we're going to have to see if they're able to get pressure. Jalen Hurts is going to test them because he's a running quarterback. So for me, I think the offense, we get to see whether they've solved some of the running issues with this new running back group. But to me, it's more of how's this defense going to perform against an elite running Philadelphia Eagle team.
Yeah, we saw the stats last night when we were on with the Philly guys and from last year, and obviously they were the number 1 rushing team in the league last year. Saquon is a different beast. I don't think Saquon will be at that level again, 2,000 plus yards. That's pretty difficult to do 2 years in a row. That's a lot of carry, a lot of wear and tear. But he's still phenomenal. They still have a great offensive line there. If the Cowboys have any shot in this game, it's going to have to be a shootout. I mean, you're right. Trayvon Diggs has been cleared to play. Tyler Guyton has been cleared to play, our starting left tackle. And, we'll see what it looks like. I'm not too enthusiastic with it. And, what's your prediction for the game? I mean, you mentioned we're going to get we'll see what happens in the middle with Kenny Clark and this linebacker core, which some of us like. And I will say I do think the Cowboys will be able to get pressure on the quarterback because if there was one position on the team that had a lot of depth, it was pass rusher. So you mentioned Houston. You drafted the kid out of Boston College. One day we'll learn his name or actually how to say it with the 2nd round pick. Sam Williams, I've always liked. You have Nealon as well. So there's depth at the defensive end position.
It's really the middle of that and the linebackers, and which I like the linebackers. I love Leofau. I love Sanborn. I think they're going to be really great. And then when Overshown comes back, that just steps it up another level. Obviously, we're a little ways away from that. But ultimately, what's your prediction for tomorrow night? Do the boys get it done, or do we say good job, Eagles? We'll see you down the road.
Well, one last point on the defense. The Eagles also, we're going to see how their defense looks. They lost a lot of players on that defensive line. So we're going to see, you've got, to me, the offenses are not so much the question. Obviously, we want to see what Dak does with his new weapon, with Pickens, and hopefully a running game. But what's going to happen tomorrow? Unfortunately, I hate to say it. I don't, as much as I want to be the optimist, as much as I want to pick our boys to win, I just think that it's going to be a close game, quite frankly, because I do think both defenses are going to struggle a little bit. And if it turns into a shoot, here's the other factor in this. Dak doesn't lose to the Eagles a lot. Dak, I think, has only lost 4 games in his whole career to the Eagles. So,
I think this is the worst team he's had, though.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
We're gonna see. And I don't think he's ever played on week 1 either. So it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be interesting, and I will save my pick for picks with Pops. But you obviously got the old man saying the Cowboys are going to lose in a shootout. So let's go ahead and take a quick timeout here on Time Sports Talk. Don't go anywhere. All right. We'll be back with more, and here's some info from easyleadership.com.
Attention leaders planning your 2025 leadership retreat. Are you about to throw $30,000 to $40,000 out the door on flashy speakers and trendy activities that lose impact in 2 months? Don't waste your budget on short-lived inspiration. Partner with Easy Leadership and harness the disc work of leaders to gain real data insights into your company's real-world issues. We'll uncover your team's strengths and tackle critical challenges in vision, alignment, and execution, creating a strategic action plan that drives lasting, measurable results. Act now. Contact Easy Leadership at easyleadership.com to invest in leadership that transforms your organization for the long haul.
All right. Welcome back.
easyleadership.com.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap up. We've been talking about the last couple of weeks on the Dallas Cowboy documentary on Netflix. We're probably a little behind everyone else in the sports media world talking about it. But it is a great documentary, even if you're not a Cowboys fan. A lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of interesting stories. And I'll tell you what, one of the most interesting stories I got from those last few episodes was the White House.
The White House that Trump is in.
No, not that White House. This was a house right behind Valley Ranch that Michael Irvin was the president of, apparently, but no one else would talk about what went on in there. Everyone's like, nope, you're going to get me in trouble. Nope, not going to talk about that. And
well, my surprise was even Emmett admitted, yeah, I had a little fun. And everybody looks at Emmett being squeaky clean. So
yeah, the White House I thought was interesting. It's obviously a young males playhouse where they would take females and have a good time in the graphic things we can't really talk about on here, and probably partake in some alcohol and some not so legal substances.
Yeah. Yes, some not so legal substances.
And they did it because they didn't want to get hotel rooms all the time because hotels were too expensive, or they get expensive. And Michael Irvin gets busted in a hotel with a bunch of strippers and crack cocaine.
The saddest, one of the saddest stories to me was Erickson. But I don't think he's leaving the White House. I think they were leaving a bar, weren't they?
Talking about Eric Williams.
Yes, Eric Williams.
Yeah, it was some get together where they had been drinking, and I remember that because at that time I lived in Dallas Fort Worth as a kid, and I remember the accident, and I remember the Irvin trial, and yeah, so I was somewhat happy that they didn't shy away from those subjects because that's part of the history of the Cowboys. I think there were some subjects they could have got into. But you mentioned this, I think last episode that I hadn't got to yet is, Barry Switzer was actually really loved by those players.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was interesting because Barry Switzer gets viewed as this buffoon and just a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. And yeah, it was interesting. And to see old Barry Switzer in that documentary, I thought that was kind of, he looked odd.
He was beloved by everyone except the most important one, and that was quarterback. Troy expected the Barry Switzer he knew from Oklahoma, and he said it was a totally different person that showed up at Valley Ranch because Barry Switzer, he'd been retired for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
And so when he came into it, he was not, as they say, he was not like Jimmy Johnson, who they said was an asshole and was all about attention to detail and was there for every single minute of football. Whereas Barry Switzer believed in the players, you're professionals, so do your job. And that's why a lot of players liked it. And that's probably why a lot of this stuff at the White House went on. But the most interesting story about Barry Switzer to me was his relationship with Charles Haley, because he really took Charles Haley under his wing and made a relationship with probably the hardest player to make a relationship with on that team. And that was really interesting to me, of how he went to Charles's house and sat down with him, and Charles Haley admits he wanted to win that Super Bowl because of his coach now, that he really liked Barry because of that.
Barry, that's one of the unique things I think you saw in that, because I think a lot of Cowboys fans, and I'm not innocent of it, kind of look down on Barry Switzer almost compared to Jimmy Johnson. And, and I thought it was interesting they chronicled Jimmy Johnson showing up to the NFC title game in '95 and kind of showing up Jerry Jones, and that kind of extended their feud. And, the Jimmy Jerry feud was an overarching story in this documentary that culminated with him finally getting put in the Ring of Honor there towards the end. And another interesting one was when Michael Irvin gets hurt, his career-ending injury. He talks about his spinal cord is shrinking. Is that he's like, if Norv Turner and Jimmy Johnson would have been there, I would have played. And that tells you the relationship Michael Irvin had with those guys. Obviously, Norv had left to be a head coach, I think, of the Redskins, and obviously Jimmy, I think at the time he was injured, was actually in Miami. So it just tells you and speaks to the relationship between player and coach and how deep it can go. And I thought that was pretty awesome. I thought it was an interesting one when you mentioned Emmett earlier, not in his off-field activities, but when he talked about breaking the record and then coming back as an Arizona Cardinal. I thought that one almost had me choked up, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it goes to show, a lot of people say that most players don't have loyalty, and that's probably true to the most part. But when you're drafted by a team and that is all you know, And that's why I say it's going to be interesting with Micah, because he was drafted by the Cowboys and that's all he knows. But he's a hell of a lot younger than Emmett was. But you see this where they go play for someone else because they're trying to hold on. They want to continue. And not everybody can do what Tom Brady did, because Tom Brady obviously is Tom Brady when he went to the Bucks. But the thing is we saw it. A lot of these players. I mean, I can go all the way back to Joe Montana when he ended up playing for the Chiefs. No one ever thought something like that would happen for a guy who's been to 4 Super Bowls with San Francisco, or 3 Super Bowls with San Francisco. Because I think Steve Young got the last one, but I could be wrong on that stat. But no one ever thought Joe Montana would go to, yeah, it was 4. I don't think no one ever thought he would go to another team. And he literally almost took the Chiefs to the Super Bowl, but he still was not the Joe Montana that everybody was used to.
I understand the point you're making, but what did you think of Emmett's like emotion to that? Because I've never heard Joe Montana talk about when he went back to San Francisco and how emotional it was. I just thought, was that a unique thing to Emmett? Was that a unique thing to, because they truly describe themselves as a family. Like I've never heard a player talk about just breaking down and crying in the opposing locker room of the team that you're a part of. Like I've never heard that. Like it was just such added a whole nother level of humanity to Emmitt Smith, I guess you could say.
Well, I think we don't hear about a lot of that. But you can't tell me that Luka. I mean, we saw Luka when they played the tribute when he came back to Dallas for the first time. He had tears in his eyes. I think it's when you feel like you are part of an organization and they have invested in you and you feel like part of that family. It's like leaving your family and putting on different colors and all that stuff. It just doesn't feel right because you had a certain way of life and doing things. So I just think it's we don't hear a whole lot about that. But yeah, I think Emmett has talked many times of how important that was. Those guys went out and did something that most teams have never been able to do. Only till recently do we have some teams that have been able to win more Super Bowls. But at that time, they were the dynasty. So being a part of that, I can completely understand the emotion. And there's also a wrongness to it, and what I mean by that is they feel like they got cheated to a certain extent when Jimmy Johnson left. And that because they were picked to win the next 3 or 4, because Jimmy Johnson just had that team so dominant. I mean, they were dominant during that time. So,
yeah, I thought Jimmy Johnson's quote at the end was pretty classic and pretty funny. He sits there and goes, "Well, it has been a fucking ride," and I was like, that encapsulates it, fully in my opinion. So, yeah, that's yeah, I thought it was a good. I put it up there with The Last Dance in the docuseries world, and yeah, I really liked it. I think the last episode was kind of in though. That's why I wouldn't put it above The Last Dance, just because it was really just kept talking about how much the value of the franchise increased, and it never I would have loved to have them go into the years a little farther and a little deeper with Bill Parcells and the ascension of Tony Romo and Terrell Owens drama. And, maybe that's part 2 in the works. Who knows? But I would have loved to see that too. And it just basically, doesn't go into any of the struggles of the Dave Campo and Chan Gailey. You You see a total of like 20 years of coaches, a total of like 7 seconds on the screen with Jason Garrett, Bill Parcells, Dave Campo, and Chan Gailey. And then it ends with Schottenheimer is now the head coach. Like I don't even remember seeing Mike McCarthy. He's probably on there for half a second. But I think I would love to see the second half of that, honestly, and the struggles that the team has gone through and things of that nature.
I think the Romo story would make for a good story, because I think Romo was, being a guy who kind of was basically a walk-on almost, and was never picked to be what he became. And he stepped into the spotlight from basically a guy who could possibly be a Hall of Famer later. I don't know. But Bledsoe, who was one of these elites in football.
Yeah.
And that whole story, unfortunately, and it came down to one play in Green Bay that could have got them over the hump. And that whole story and everything would have been completely different.
No, I mean, maybe. I think the year he got hurt and Dak took over, that was one of the best teams he had been on. That was Zeke's rookie year as well. It would have been really fun to see him, because he always had that chemistry with Des Bryant and those guys. So, but maybe another subject for another time. Let's go ahead and take another quick break, but make sure you stay tuned when we return. We're shifting our focus to the college gridiron, what went on this weekend. And I just might ask you, who had a worst weekend, by the way? There, I have three candidates. Let you stew on that with some more words from easyleadership.com.
Parents, help your student find their true path with the Berkman Career Assessment. Imagine if you had discovered your true passion right after high school. How much further along would you be in a fulfilling life? Now picture giving that gift to your student. The Berkman Career Assessment is designed to uncover the career paths that align with your student's unique personality, interests, and needs. Don't let them wander through years of uncertainty. Equip them with clarity and confidence to pursue a future where they thrive. Act now. Invest in their purpose with Berkman today at easyleadership.com or email us for a free career checkup.
All right. easyleadership.com. Check it out.
Yeah, Berkman stuff is good stuff. Just throwing it out there. Yes. All right, welcome back to OTST, man, all-time sports talk. We're diving into everything that happened college football this past weekend. First, we're going to look at the AP rankings, what we think they got wrong. Then we're going to talk about, everything from the catch in Miami to A&M's big win to the disembowelment of Alabama. So you're going to pull up the rankings. There we go. There it is. All right. Got a lot of changes after this week. I think the most obvious one is there's a new number one, sir.
Well, it's who I thought. Well, actually, I thought Penn State should have been number one to start off the year, with Ohio State right behind them. I thought Texas was 3 or 4, but it's unfortunately for them. They thought they would come out making a statement, taking on the team that they played in the playoffs last year, but it did not work out well for Texas, and I think they've got some questions based on how they played. But Ohio State, to me, truly is. They went out and beat the number one team pretty easily, except for maybe the fourth quarter. Texas started to play a little bit better, and Arch Manning played a little bit better. But I think what we saw there, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But
hold on. I got to disagree on this. They dominated. They whooped their ass. It was 14-7. Am I reading the score right? It was the other team scored twice and Texas scored once. So it wasn't a 42-7 or 40-something to 20-something ass whooping. Yeah, Arch didn't play well. We can all agree with that. Ohio State has one of the best defenses in the league, and so does Texas, or in the country, I should say, not necessarily the league, because they're not in the league. They're both really good teams, but I thought they were pretty evenly matched overall. This was a 14-7 game. And I'm not trying to talk up Texas because, I don't like them. But I've heard a lot of people say, oh, Ohio State just whooped their tails. They beat them by 1 touchdown. This isn't.
Okay. All right. First off, they had a new quarterback at Ohio State. So did Texas. And even though the score doesn't show a whooping of the ass, it was a whooping of the ass if you watch the entire game. Because Ohio State controlled Texas's offense and shut Manning down. Couple of interceptions, many deer in the headlight throws that were way off. And so you may look at the score and say, okay, well, that wasn't an ass whooping from the score standpoint, but Ohio State pretty much handled Texas the way they wanted to. And they did it with a young quarterback, the same as on the other side of the ball. And he performed beautifully. His throws were on mark. He looked poised in the pocket. He looked more like a Heisman candidate than the guy from Texas even came close to. And Arch Manning did not start playing really and get in any type of groove until the fourth quarter. And it still wasn't all that great. So, yeah, you may say it wasn't an ass whooping, but Ohio State played their game and they controlled this game. And I don't think Texas is ever going to beat Ohio State in the next couple of years the way that, because they may meet again in the playoffs if Texas can get there. But I'm telling you right now, there is not a lot of games to measure Arch Manning on. And everybody wanted to anoint him coming out, and he may still live up to that. But I think it's going to take him a while to get settled in, because that pressure, even though a lot of people say, he should be able to handle the pressure, it's a lot of pressure.
I mean, it is. And he went into one of the hardest places to go play in his first start. All right. I've been in the shoe. I lived in Columbus, Ohio for 5 years, been in their night games, day games, and it ain't easy for anybody, much less a new quarterback making his first start. All right. I don't care who you are.
Well, there's, you could say that about a lot of stadiums. Going to A&M is a hard place to play. Going to Alabama is a hard place to play. He's going to have to figure that out.
Going to Alabama ain't hard anymore.
It's still a hard place to play based on the crowd.
I don't know about
you're saying
that.
The crowd at the shoe,
an unranked opponent.
Yeah, well.
So, which he's one of my nominees for who had the worst weekend. But I think Texas will be fine overall. I do think Ohio State was the number one team, but I don't think it was the drumming that you're trying to make it out to be. It's 14-7. They scored the 7. He got comfortable eventually. I think he only threw 1 interception.
Did you watch the game?
I watched parts of it because I was working.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. I watched the entire game, and I'm telling you, Ohio controlled this game from the very beginning.
And if you're sitting there talking up Ohio State's quarterback, he had 126 yards passing. He was 13 for 20.
Did not turn the ball over.
And Arch only turned it over once.
He managed the game.
Listen.
He managed the game well.
Listen, we're both Aggies. Okay, I get the Texas hate. I understand it. I agree most of the time. I just think you're overblowing this, or the hype on Manning.
Do you think I love Ohio State? I don't like Ohio State either.
Ohio
to me, they're a giant 0.
Hey,
giant
Ohio
zero.
State is my Josh Allen to you. Okay, you just turned into the
Whatever.
Ohio State lover.
The Ohio State.
What you just did.
They
All
put
right.
players in the league that can't make it more than 5 or 6 years.
All right. Well, Texas goes down. Clemson and Notre Dame go down as well. I was a huge believer in Notre Dame. Pretty interested to see how they respond after that loss to Miami. And that catch, holy crap. That catch saved a pick six going the other way. That catch was one of the best I've seen in college football in a while. So, did you catch any of the Notre Dame Miami game?
No, I caught some of the highlights. I did not catch that game. I will
Gotcha.
admit that.
Well, Alabama gets their ass whooped by Florida State, which Florida State was unranked, I do believe, when they played. Now Florida State is ranked 14th, and Alabama is down 21. Man, Alabama may drop out of the top 25 for the first time in I think since the year after Nick Saban originally took over, 2007. Yeah, they're not getting it done down there in Tuscaloosa, and it's going to be interesting to see how. I'm hearing rumors that they want Pete DeBoer gone. The problem is he's got a $70 million buyout, and those aren't the Texas A&M boosters paying Alabama's bills. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of marquee matchups coming up.
I think there's only one top 25 game this upcoming week, and
it's Michigan and Oklahoma.
Correct. You do have the Cyclone Bowl, Iowa State and Iowa playing. That's obviously the in-state rivalry. You have a couple intriguing games around the nation, but none of the big matchups you did. A lot of them are paying the smaller schools athletic bills this week, as I like to call it, playing those those pretty much gimme wins. Most teams have scheduled that for week 2 instead of week 1.
Well, I think the SMU Baylor game might be a little interesting.
Yeah, Baylor didn't look too good last week. SMU did struggle a bit against East Texas Baptist in week 1, so it'll be interesting to see how SMU responds after that. They are playing at home at the Hilltop in Dallas, so that might be intriguing. But yeah, there's not a ton of great games, I should say, this weekend. I guess the last one I'll talk about with college football is what a debut for Bill Belichick. Oh man, talk about ass whoopings.
Yeah, that's and here, let me do it in my Bill Belichick voice. Well, they were better than us. They had a better game plan, and we just sucked ass. So we were terrible. Where's my girlfriend? I need my girlfriend.
Well, she was on the sideline talking to him during the game. That wasn't very good optics. We'll just say that. But thank you.
Someone put a video. She was asking for lunch money.
I saw that. But thank you, TCU, for humbling Bill Belichick and his icky relationship he's got going on. It really is just icky.
I don't think this experiment with Bill Belichick is going to work out. I just don't think he is suited for the college game. I think he could still be a coach in the NFL, but I don't see Belichick coming to my living room to recruit my kid. It's like, well, we'll get you a North Carolina hat, and we wear teal blue, which is pretty sweet.
It's
what do you think?
Blue,
May have to bring Bill Belichick on next week.
Maybe. I know we got Sir George coming on next week.
Yes.
So, and we're probably gonna have to update the Rangers and maybe our last time for B Boach for the year. But all right. Did we have another sponsor commercial or no?
Yes, we do.
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and move off. By the way, I think generally the AP top 25 is a solid AP top 25. There is one team that I did say was going to be really good that you weren't too hot on, and they're number 25, Utah. I think the Utes are going to be solid this year. And
Yeah.
that was, but A&M got the win too. Shout out to the Aggies. And
Yeah, and they got a speedster who transferred from man, I cannot remember his name now. But he ran the kick back, first kick, he ran back.
all right, so let me ask you this question.
Concepcion.
Oh, hold on.
Yes.
So who had the worst weekend in college football? Was it Bill Belichick? Is it Pete DeBoer at Alabama? Or was it Arch Manning? Who had the worst weekend?
I'm going to say Arch. And the reason I'm going to say Arch, because so much was expected of him. So
Okay,
that's who I would say.
I think that is Texas A&M hate.
It is not. Everybody said he's going to be Heisman
It was
Trophy
one
winner,
game.
first round draft pick.
One game.
Saying that.
One game against the number one team in the country in their house.
All I'm telling you is who had the worst based on the expectation. The expectation was off chart. I didn't think he was going to be able to live up to that. I don't care that he plays for Texas. But here's my thing about anointing someone before they've earned it. That to me irks me. And the point is the majority of people said he's going to win the Heisman. He's going to be the first round draft pick. Everybody's making a play to get Arch Manning because he's going to be such a great quarterback. And so the hype, he did not live up to the hype, not even close to it. And I mean, that is not Longhorn hate. I'll admit my Longhorn hate, but I'm just saying, I hope the kid has a great career. I hope he has a star on his helmet if he ends up doing well.
Well,
because
you better stop hating the hell out of him then and start pumping him up because you might be listening. He might be one of our 70 million watching right now. At the end of the day, I think Belichick had the worst weekend. You want to talk about a person who is the greatest? Why'd you? Oh, yeah, you took that off screen. He is considered one of, if not the greatest football coaches of all time, and he comes in, has a new roster, revamps everything, has all this craziness around him, and he's supposed to be. I mean, Michael Jordan is up there in the box. Roy Williams, the Hall of Fame basketball coach, in the box. I think Lawrence Taylor was up in the box in the suite with those guys. And, they come out, they do have a great first drive, and then it's just belt to ass after that. Just TCU absolutely crucified the Tar Heels. See what I did there? TCU crucified. Anyways, yeah, I think it was Bill Belichick. I actually think Arch is third on that list. I think Pete DeBoer at Alabama losing to another non-ranked opponent, which he's done 4 times already in his year and change at the school. I think Nick Saban did it 4 times in his entire tenure. I think he's in real jeopardy right now as the Alabama head coach. I think it's about to get real miserable for him. So I think Arch, first game, young, has plenty of season left. I would imagine he rebounds against the Cupcake they're playing this week. And now if he struggles this week against a Cupcake, you might have something there, old man. But I'm not jumping that gun just yet.
This was supposed to be
don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere, sports fans. We got more coming your way after this quick message from, once again, easyleadership.com.
Have you heard of the DISC communication tool? Yes, most people in business have. But there is a new tool out there that is tailored for leadership teams. It is called the DISC Work of Leaders and focuses on 3 main areas: vision, alignment, and execution. This amazing assessment is not just a game changer. It is a business strategy necessity if you want to create sustainability. Let's be honest, a lot of executives spend many hours in HR dealing with people issues, and that happens because of reactive leadership. If you are sitting in HR trying to figure out what happened after the fact, then you are not able to concentrate on running your department or business, and it steals your time. Email us or call. It's free to talk about it and learn how to become proactive in your leadership. Big or small, we have a plan to build on your strengths and an action plan for your challenges. Join Eddie Schedule, our CEO and founder, for a quick video on what a report does for you. Head over to our website and scroll down to see this amazing video of the Disc Work of Leaders tool. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you.
All righty.
There we go. So let me put the plug in, folks. We need more sponsors. Easy Leadership, it's great that they're there, but we would like some variety. So please give us a call, contact us. We need more sponsors to help keep us on the air.
Way to sound desperate.
What?
Said way to sound desperate.
Well, I want to sound desperate. We need sponsors. Help feed a hungry veteran, i.e. me.
Oh, wow. I mean, yes, we would love your sponsor. Whiskey companies, you can whiskey the sponsor the whiskey of the week. There's all kinds. All right.
I know.
Let's get back to it.
To the NFL stuff, but are we going to mention baseball at all? I know it's not on our theme.
No.
And I know because you probably are not happy about the Rangers.
They lost one game, but no. It's the eve of the NFL year. We're not talking baseball tonight. What's wrong with you?
Well, let's go Astros. Keep it up. There you go.
Okay.
And Padres, get your act together. You fell out of first place. All right, go.
Anything else? I've tried to do this intro 3 times. You're killing me.
Now, third time's a charm.
Well, it'd be the 4th time because I've tried 3 times already, you Nimrod.
You want me to interrupt you again?
You probably will, because you're going to be like, it's the interrupting dad or some bullshit like that.
The interrupting dad.
Good
The annoying, grossly interrupting dad.
Oh, it's like the embarrassing dad who picks you up in his pajamas at the school right now. That's what I feel like.
And then locks you in the car and farts on you.
And fart on me. You just almost killed me. All right, the people aren't interested in this. Let's get going.
I don't know. We got a lot of viewers tonight.
Well, they're going to start turning off. We don't start talking sports. Good God. Oh, man. Andy, thank you. How's it going? Hammer time, man. Man's got moved. Hey, he remembers you from the wedding. All right. Okay. NFL season, it is heating up. It is NFL Eve tonight. We got Cowboys, Eagles tomorrow. And we are going to put our money where our mouth is. We are going to pick our division winners for all 8 divisions. And let's start with the AFC. And let's start with the AFC East. To remind you, it's the Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and New England. To make your pick, give maybe 1 point or 2 points on why you're picking them. But let's not turn this into an hour-long segment. Who you got in the AFC East there, old man?
You only did this because you know I don't really have any other choices in that division.
Neither of us have
nobody else is gonna rise to the top of that division. It's gonna be Buffalo.
Okay.
I mean, just because they're the best team in that division.
I don't disagree. Yes, it's Buffalo. Went 13-4 last year, outscored their opponents by 157 points last year. Had the MVP at quarterback. And like, I'm not even getting that deep into it. You don't have to pull that garbage. Like, I'm actually trying to be serious here. Is Miami hasn't improved enough. New York is dumpster fire, in your own words. And New England, I think, may be a little better, but I don't think they're going to rise up to beat Buffalo. So I think one of the most interesting ones is the next one we'll talk about is the AFC North. I think that's going to be a really tough division. Who are you thinking between Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Cleveland?
Baltimore. Baltimore is still the best team in that division. They have a hell of a running game, and they have one of the top tier quarterbacks in the league. Pittsburgh's going in with an old man who's going to learn very quickly because he's playing against the Jets, who, when we get to picks, that's one of my games. And of course, Cleveland is a freaking soup sandwich with the damn quarterback situation now.
Right.
And then Cincinnati, Cincinnati has the potential. They always have the potential, but they seem to have some issues. So it's Baltimore. Baltimore's going to win this division again. Baltimore is going to go deep into the playoffs again.
They only went one round in the playoffs last year, so there's no again there. I'm going to say I really think Joe Burrow and that crew is not going to get it done. I agree with you. Baltimore at the top of the AFC North. Can't disagree there. But it's not going to be a deep playoff run by the Ravens. They're going to lose to either the Chiefs or the Bills in the first round again. All right, let's go AFC South. We got the Houston Texans right in our backyard. We got the Colts, the Jaguars, and the Tennessee Titans led by the good old number one pick, Cam Ward. Who you feeling in this so-so AFC South?
Well, the best defense on the board there is the Texans. And so I think based on the fact that there's questions about Jacksonville's quarterback, is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to do well and take them somewhere? Obviously, they got Mr. Hunter there. We're going to see how that works out. Indianapolis and Tennessee, I just don't see them doing much as far as winning this division. It's Houston hands down. I think is going to win this division because they have the best defense and they have one of the better quarterbacks in the league. So I just think that they are going to be winning that division. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in Houston, because I am not a Texans fan. I don't hate them, but I'm not a Texans fan.
Yeah. It's untold potential, untapped potential, what you have there in Jacksonville. You now have Travis Hunter. Can Trevor Lawrence actually live up to his hype? Speaking of quarterbacks not living up to the hype. I think Tennessee will be improved marginally, maybe from 3 to 5 wins right now. And Indianapolis, I mean, it's either Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson at quarterback. I don't think there's a lot of competition in this division. I have to agree with you. I think it's going to be Houston. They do have a good defense. Their back end is really great. CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to be back. So I think ultimately Houston improves their record from 10-7. I think they'll be maybe around 12 wins this year, around 12-5, maybe 13-4, somewhere around there, because I think they're going to have a better record against their division mates. Actually, they went 5-1 against the division last year, so you can't get much better than that. So I think they'll do better against the rest of the league. But interesting stat from the Texans last year, they gave up 372 points. You want to know how many points they scored? 372. So, Dom, how about them Broncos? We are getting to the AFC West right now. AFC West, Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, Denver Broncos, Las Vegas Raiders. This might be the most competitive division in football this year. I think it's going to be a knock 'em out, drag out division. Who you got in the West? Are you going with Dom's Broncos?
No, I'm not going with the Broncos.
I thought you loved Bo Nix.
I do like Bo Nix, but I don't. I think this division is one of the toughest in football, if not the toughest. The NFC North may have something to say about that. But I think you're going to see some things out of Vegas you have not seen. Obviously, you got a new coach, new quarterback. So I think we're going to see what's that?
Said a new running back.
And a new running back. So I think Vegas is going to make some waves in this. And I'm not ruling out the Chargers either. Obviously, I'm a fan of the Chargers, and I think they have a coach that you can't count him out after a couple of years. He manages to put together championship teams, whether he's in college or whether he's in the NFL. So I think Kansas City is questionable just because we're going to see if they start to drop off because some players are talking about retirement. But you
So
know,
who are you picking?
it's huh?
Who are you picking?
I'm picking Vegas to win the division.
Wow. Okay, I did not see that coming. You were talking them up, but then you trailed off on them. Well, that's a hell of a turnaround for Las Vegas Raiders in the old man's eyes. I can't do it. I can't do it at all until they don't do it. I can't pick against Mahomes and the Chiefs. Okay? They've proved me wrong too many times down the road. I understand what you're saying. The age, guys like Kelsey distracted by planning a wedding now to Taylor Swift and, all that jazz. But it's the Chiefs until it's not the Chiefs. That's just how I view it. I think Los Angeles and Denver and Vegas are going to beat each other up. I like what Vegas has done, the points that you made. I love Brock Bowers out there. So I think they have a top tier tight end. They got Genty at running back now. I've never been a huge fan of Geno, but he can get the job done under Pete Carroll. Interested to see what the defense looks like. They gave up 434 points last year. I love Bo Nix too in Denver. I think Denver is going to be solid with Sean Payton. I actually think the Broncos will probably come in second in the division. Them and the Chargers will flip. I think Vegas will come in last in the division, but they're going to have more than 4 wins. I think those bottom 3 teams, I don't think Kansas City is going to be 15-2. You saw it last year. They were barely winning games, and you kept saying, well, they're just winning. All that matters is they're winning. And I'm like, they're barely winning. And I think those games catch up to them this year. And ultimately, they drop to 11 or 12 win team. And the rest of that division kind of closes the gap a little bit. But I can't pick against the Kansas City Chiefs until the Chiefs don't do it. Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback on the planet. And, that's where I'm at on that. All right, we'll save the NFC East for last. Let's go ahead and jump to let's stay out west. Let's go NFC West there. Los Angeles Rams, Seattle Seahawks, Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers. Who you thinking?
This is a really tough division to pick.
Shit show.
Ruling Arizona out, I think Arizona is going to come in last in this division. But it's really hard because Matthew Stafford, we got to see how he plays. He's been cleared to play. And Purdy is obviously with losing Debo and all this. I'm still going to go with San Francisco winning this division. Not by much. I think it'll come down to the Rams and Frisco. But I think Frisco pulls it out and wins this division.
Wow. Another last to first pick by the old man. You going out there on out on limbs, man. I don't think San Francisco makes that jump. I actually think I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks to win the division. That's where I'm going. Your boy Darnold is there. You love Sam Darnold.
I do
I
like
think
Sam
it's going to be
Darnold, and
Seattle.
I'll have to get me a Seahawk hat if he does something because I'm a fan of him.
So I think it's going to be Seattle. You know, Seattle and Los Angeles Rams, they tied last year at 10-7, 10-7. Seattle actually scored more points than Los Angeles last year. Matter of fact, the Rams were negative 19 on the season last year when it comes to scoring. I know it's a new year. I know personnel is different, but yeah, I think, and they were both 6-6 in the conference and 4-2 in the division last year. So we don't really think of Seattle all that much, but I think Seattle wins the NFC West. NFC South, we got Tampa Bay, we got Atlanta, we got Carolina, we got New Orleans. Who are you thinking for the NFC South?
Well, I'm a Baker Mayfield fan.
Yeah.
So
Broke back Mayfield.
yeah, Andy's who dat. Yeah, it's who dat is not the Saints. It's gonna be Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay wins this division. I think Baker Mayfield has already proven he can do some things at quarterback. I really like what he's doing. I don't think Atlanta is going to be much. Carolina, I couldn't even tell you, who most of their starters are. And so I'm going with Tampa Bay.
So sorry, Andy. I know we're family now, but shit, man, it ain't gonna be New Orleans. I can tell you that. It is a mess down there. The best quarterback on the roster is their head coach right now. It's Kellen Moore. And by the way, it's weird to see him as a head coach.
I forgot Kellen Moore went to New Orleans. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
So I don't think it's New Orleans. I appreciate the fandom out there. Y'all are one of the most loyal fan bases of all time. But Carolina, dumpster fire. Atlanta, it's going to be interesting to see what Michael Penix Jr. does with a full year starting. How about Atlanta having a $35 million quarterback as their backup with good old Kirk Cousins? I think it's Tampa Bay too. I think it's Tampa Bay very easily. Baker Mayfield resurrected his career. I think you can't help, if you're a football fan, be a fan of Baker Mayfield. Matter of fact, I still loved his Cleveland Brown commercials he did when he was in Cleveland. Those were amazing commercials, by the way. Solid job up there by his sponsors and who signed him. Y'all are more welcome to sponsor us, and we'll do the same damn type of commercials if you like. But yes, Tampa Bay. All right, NFC North. We got Detroit, Minnesota, and the Green Bay Packers, the home of Micah, or if you ask Jerry Jones, Michael Persons, or the Chicago Bears with the fingernail coloring quarterback. Who you got in the NFC North?
Well, now that Michael Parsons has moved to Green Bay, I wanted to go with Detroit even before this whole Micah trade. But my problem with Detroit, they lost a couple coaches.
Yeah.
And Jared Goff has proved when he gets a new offensive coordinator, he's not as good the first year with them, or at least not until later in the season, at least what I've observed. So, and Chicago is still a wild card for me. I mean, I think Johnson going there could change things around, but I think Green Bay, they already proved last year that they are a playoff team. And now adding Micah Parsons, we'll see if these back issues comes in there. I think Green Bay takes this. And Minnesota, obviously losing my favorite quarterback, Darnold. He's not there anymore, so I may have to retire my Viking hat. But I think it's Green Bay.
Thank Jesus we will not have the Viking hat debacles we had last year, even though it did provide some entertaining shorts. I will admit that. NFC North, Chicago, I think they're a few years away, if at all. I love Ben Johnson. I was hoping he'd be the Cowboys coach, to be honest. Green Bay, I think, is second in the division. I think Minnesota takes a step back with J.J. McCarthy being the quarterback. I mean, they still got Justin Jefferson. I love their tight end, Hawkinson, as well. And they have a really solid defense. But I think Detroit stays at the top of the division. Aiden Hutchinson comes back. He is, a top 5 pass rusher in the league. And when he went, and they just went through a myriad. If you remember last year, it was like every week someone else got injured for the Detroit Lions. And it wasn't just like I'm out 1 or 2 weeks. It was season-ending stuff. And Aiden Hutchinson being the biggest one. I mean, he is a game-wrecking defensive end without a doubt. And so I think Detroit's at the top, followed by Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago. So I just flipped 2 of those. But I do think Detroit and Green Bay are both going to make the playoffs. So that'd be 2 of the 8 playoff teams. All right, NFC East, not a repeat winner since the early 2000s. So I know you're not picking the Eagles, or you shouldn't pick the Eagles. We know it's Philly, Washington, Dallas, New York Football Giants. Who are you going with, old man?
Well, I'm going to say this division is going to flip around on us a little bit. And like you said, no back-to-back NFC East. And I think what we're going to have to see out of the Eagles is the same thing that plagued the Giants. Is Mr. Barkley tends to end up with an injury every other year that costs him a lot of games. And I don't wish that on the man. I like the man. I think he's great, but we're going to have to see. But I think the Eagles are actually going to drop 2 spots. I think the Commanders, the stupidest name in all of football, the Commanders are going to win this division with the Cowboys coming in second. And then the Eagles, and then the Giants. So the NFC East tends to do this. If we look at the past years, it flips around. So I think the Commanders are going to take this division. They added some weapons. I think their coach is going to be into getting his quarterback there. So there you go.
You're making me drink. Holy.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Dude, you just blew my mind. Your picks on these divisions. I didn't expect this tonight. I really didn't. Please, if you disagree or agree with any of our picks, put it in the comments and let us know. My NFC East pick is the first repeat NFC East champion. I got to go with Philly. It burns me to say that because I really want them to just fall apart like they did 2 years ago. I really, really just want it to all fall apart in the Phillies fans' face so we can just laugh and watch everyone continue to eat and cope with their depression and get fat on cheesesteaks. That's what I want to see. All right? But I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're just too good right now. I think you got to wait for them to get a couple players to age out. I think Commanders come in second, and I'm hoping Dallas comes in third. I'm just, we talked about last night on the Philly show, the over or under for Vegas for Dallas Cowboys is 7 wins. I think I'd pick the under right now if I was putting money on. I think Dallas is not going to be very good this year. After my initial thoughts of them being a double-digit win team, losing Micah, not having, Javonte Williams was the starter at what was it, Carolina last year, and they were awful. He hasn't ever been a 1,000-yard rusher, which is easier than ever. Miles Sanders hasn't shown shit in the preseason either. I do like pieces of our defense, but I think it's about a year away. And I think we're another high draft pick away for an impact player, especially on the defensive line. I like the skill players Dallas has, obviously. But I think Philly is the first repeat. And if it's not Philly, it's going to be Washington. But I'll put my prediction as the Philadelphia Eagles. So mark them down,
There you
folks.
have it.
We will check see how accurate we were at the end of the season. And we will definitely be keeping track of our next segments, which is we haven't done this since the end of last season, since the Super Bowl, really. Picks with pops. So we kind of did a modified version of that with divisions. What we do every week is we pick 7 games. All right, we pick every NFC East game. Like week 1, they're playing each other, so we have a bunch of wild card games. So we'll pick every NFC East game. This year, because we're here in Houston, we're going to pick every time the Houston Texans are playing, and then we have our wild card game. So we both said it. You already picked Philadelphia earlier in the show. I have to agree with you, Philadelphia over Dallas, which doesn't bode well for your division prediction if Dallas is going to lose to the Eagles in week 1. But
I think they're going to be off to a slow start.
Well, Dallas better get off to a fast start because their next 2 weeks are against lower competition. So they better be 2-1, and I think they better be 4-2 after the first 6 games if they want to have any chance of making the playoffs. So, but we both have Philly in the first tomorrow night. Am I correct?
Yes.
All right. Giants Commanders. I'll start this one off first. I pick Washington in this matchup.
Well, oh my gosh, that's really a tough one there. Yes, the Commanders, Washington wins this game.
All right.
Easily.
Now we start getting let's go ahead and we're doing the Texans every week. Texans, Rams. Who do you predict wins the LA Houston matchup?
The Texans.
All right.
There's still questions about Stafford's back, and I think the defense of the Texans is it's one of the best in the league.
Is Stafford clear to play?
What?
Is Stafford clear to play?
Yes. Yes.
If Stafford is playing quarterback, I pick the Rams. So
okay.
That's who I got. All right. Now we get into our wild cards. I know you already said this is on your wild card, so let's go ahead and get to it. Steelers, Jets. I'm picking after you make your decision. Go.
I said I didn't have them, but I will put them.
I thought you said you had the Steelers, Jets.
No. Nope.
My bad.
But Steelers, Jets, this can be upset. Jets are going to win this game.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. I got the Steelers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be as bad as you think he's going to be. I know you've hated on AR for a while. He's over the hill. It didn't work in New York, yada, yada, yada. I think he has something to prove. And the Steelers always seem to have a winning record, or at least a 500 record or better. And the Jets are a dumpster fire. So, yeah, I think it's the Steelers. Next game I got, if you got this, we'll both do it. Detroit, Green Bay.
No, I don't have that one.
All right, well, I will do that one. Detroit, Green Bay. Based on my division pick, you probably know where I'm going. I'm going Detroit. So what's your next one?
I have the Chiefs and Chargers, and I am taking the Chargers.
All right. Going with the Harbaugh there and Justin Herbert.
Yes.
I like it. I like the upset pick. All right. Ravens, Bills. Is that on your list?
Yes.
All right. Ravens, Bills. I have a feeling we're going to be on opposite ends of this. I'm going with the MVP, the reigning MVP, and the guy who whooped their ass in the playoffs last year. Give me Buffalo, and they are my Super Bowl pick this year. They're winning the Super Bowl this year.
I love Josh Allen. He's so wonderful.
Hey, I was a Romosexual back in the day. I was a huge fan of Tony. I don't even know. I'm a Allen. I don't even know how to say it. Like whatever I'm a fan of Josh Allen. You turned me into the biggest Josh Allen defender on the planet. So I'm just going to own it. Buffalo wins the Super Bowl
He's
this
Allen
year.
sexual or sexual Allen. I don't know.
I
I have
almost
to
went
think of Josh.
asexual, but I didn't want to do that. I'm assuming you're going against me with the Ravens.
You would be correct.
All right.
That the Ravens are going to win this thing coming out hot. I think they are the team to beat.
All
and
right.
they are
What's your
going to come
last
out
game you
hot.
got on your list?
I have the Buccaneers and Falcons.
Okay, I almost
And
went with
you-
that one, but I have a feeling you're going Tampa Bay.
Baker. Yes.
Yep.
I
All right.
think
My
they are
last
gonna pull that
one
out.
is going to be Tennessee, Denver. I'm interested to actually watch this game because I want to see how Cam Ward does. But I'm picking Denver. I think that's somewhat of a safe pick. But, yeah, I like Denver. Mile High playing at home. Cam Ward, first time playing in that altitude. That's where I'm going with that one. So, all right. That is Picks with Pops. Hopefully we made it a little more entertaining than we used to do it. Used to just be talking. So now the old man's favorite and exclusive segment, making the most of your moment. What do we have this week?
All right. So this is courtesy of Fox Sports 1 PBA. I'm not sure when this occurred, but anybody who's been bowling knows one of the hardest things to get is the split that this man gets.
Is it the 7-10 split?
Yes, and this is in a very pressure situation. So let's take a look at this. Let me turn off the sound. Here we go. Boom! And there it is.
Yeah, the 7-10.
He's in a high pressure stakes game here.
Well, this was obviously during COVID.
Yeah. And he was robbed. But here we go. Bam!
Bam.
There you go.
So
How many times have you seen someone get that?
I've
And
actually
the way
done
he
it.
did it. What?
I've actually done it.
You've actually done it.
Yeah, you don't remember I used to bowl all the time.
Oh, well, there you go.
And
But
if
that man,
you remember my uncles were all bowling champs.
yeah, sure.
So
But-
yeah, we when I was stationed in Fort Worth, we had a bowling alley right next to the barracks when I still lived on base and played in like 2 or 3 leagues a week. So bowling game strong.
So there you go, though. To me, it's always about, is it in a pressure situation? When you have your moment, can you come through? And
You're
he
just not
did.
going to pick my nominee, are you?
Huh?
You're just not going to pick my nominee, are you?
You need to send it to me again. I don't even remember.
I'll resend it.
So I'm old.
right,
I forget things.
That was making the most of your moment. That's a segment you could be sponsoring, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just throwing that.
Yes.
That could be brought to you by so and so and so, making the most of your moment, just like your product does. And yeah, that could be you. All right. Closing tidbits and whiskey of the week. Let's finish this baby out. So one of the big stories that I think is about to blow up, it's a small story now, but I think it's about to blow up, is Kawhi Leonard. And I know you mentioned you didn't hear about this before we came on. I think it came out in the last couple hours. Kawhi Leonard plays for the LA Clippers. Steve Ballmer created a tree planting company that doesn't actually exist, and they signed Kawhi Leonard to a $28 million. That was terrible English. $28 million endorsement deal, but he doesn't have to do anything because the company doesn't exist. It was extra money they paid him so they didn't have to add it to his contract and affect the salary cap. I think this is about to get messy, and Steve Ballmer is about to get in some major trouble in the NBA. That is some shady shit going on, but I guarantee you he's not the only owner doing stuff like this, because if one's doing it, I bet you more are doing it. Any reaction?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if that turns into a bigger story. But, we'll have to see. But I have my little tidbit from the WNBA. So I'm going to
Go
bring
ahead so I
that
can
up.
finish off with my last tidbit and the whiskey of the week. Go ahead and talk about this irrelevantly.
So, Sophie, once again, Sophie, if you're listening, I know on Facebook, I tagged you on Facebook, so maybe you're listening. Remember, I want you to get on the show and talk to us, and maybe give me a kiss on top of my head there.
Jesus.
But the reason I'm touting her this week is Skip Bayless got all, I don't know how to say it, but he claimed that Sophie's all about herself and that she's just playing this out to get money and sponsors and all that. Well, Sophie went on the podcast that she usually goes on, and she said, well, I don't even know who Skip Bayless is, but he must be a textbook clout chaser, because all he's doing is my picture and my name is posted all over his stuff. So she called him out. And Skip Bayless, to me, I don't like the guy. I think he comes from Dallas. He started out covering the Cowboys. He's in the documentary. But Skip Bayless every other freaking week is throwing his jersey in the trash and all this other crap. So I just think his time has come and passed, and he still tries to remain relevant. So I'm with Sophie on this. He's trying to remain relevant by throwing her name out there to try and get some buzz. Like she said, a textbook clout chaser. So that was my tidbit.
All right. My final tidbit is the Fort Worth Star-Telegram did a story on high school football coaches' salaries in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This appalled me, being a former high school basketball coach and teacher who just left this summer. The least amount they reported in the Dallas-Fort Worth area was $125,000 a year. And these are people who don't teach. All they do is coach football. And, some of them have an athletic coordinator title attached to them. In a smaller district, they have athletic directors to them, attached to them. Yeah, the amount of money that some of the coaches make in Texas as head football coaches in some of these programs was appalling as a former educator, to be honest, because they don't teach, they don't get in the classroom.
It's good work if you can get it.
Huh?
It's a good job if you can get it.
Yeah, it's bullshit because, they get these exuberant amount of negotiated contracts when head basketball coaches who coach more games, whose season is longer, get a pennies on the hour stipend. Okay. The highest stipend I've seen for a basketball coach, I think, is about $15,000. And that was in Mansfield ISD, and no one even comes close to that. Most of the time it's $7,000 or $8,000, and the hours that's put in by a basketball coach far exceeds that of a football coach over the course of a season. All right. I'm just going to be honest with it. It really irked me. And the head football coach has power and basically controls the career of every other coach in every other sport because they're the athletic coordinator. I had a head coach at Lake Creek named Pat Kennedy who snaked me for about 4 jobs because he didn't like me, and even though I worked my ass off for that school. So I'm sorry, I'm naming names here, but this type of shit gets under my skin. And it's the farther away you get from kids, the farther away you get from classroom and education, the more money you make. And it's pitiful that you coach a sport, you don't go into the classroom, and then your coordinators hardly do shit either. And they say offensive and defensive coordinators have more responsibility than head coaches of other sports. And it's just not true. So that's my rant. It's probably falls under the sports peeves subject that we normally do. The Star Telegram, I don't know if it was positive or negative shedding light on football coaches' salaries, but it's you could probably hire 2 more teachers for the salary you're paying one coach, which is ridiculous in my opinion. So, and most of them don't do right by other coaches in other sports, and a lot of them are douche canoes. There's some of them are great, and I've worked with some good ones out there. Coach McGee at Mag West was really good. Coach Rankin at Stratford was a really good head football coach and worked with all the programs. But the man out at Caldwell right now, douche canoe, Witherwax.
Wow. Gonna call him out.
You're fucking right. I am. I ain't gonna be back in the profession. What the fuck do I care? All right.
Okay, well, there you go. How do you really feel, folks?
That's how I feel. You want to know why I wasn't back at Caldwell? Parents at the basketball program, ask Sean Witherwax, because he didn't want us to have an off-season basketball program. That's why, at a 4A high school. Okay, that's why I wasn't back. And he was going to make me coach football, which was as a head basketball coach is horse manure.
Sounds very personal.
Oh, it was. So sorry about that. But let's get, those situations. They make me, I'm a little parched now. Today's whiskey of the week is called Puncher's Chance. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 45% alcohol. Saw this on the shelf, gave it a shot. It's not terrible. It's a solid whiskey choice. So it is a bourbon whiskey because it is distilled in good old Kentucky. So solid there. So Puncher's Chance, this week's whiskey of the week. And that's all the time we have for tonight. Huge thank you for all our incredible, amazing listeners. Thank you for our guys that commented on the live chat. And any last parting thoughts before we get out of here?
I just want to say thank you. We've got most of our viewers are coming in from X. So for our X audience, thank you for joining in. We've got viewers on YouTube, Facebook. Y'all need to show up. We don't see anybody really on Facebook tonight. So
all our comments came from Facebook, bro.
Well, they've left us because it's not showing live viewers, so they didn't stick around. But or our system just ain't working. I don't know. But I do want to thank the viewers though from X, because X is a platform where I have a lot of followers there, so I appreciate folks tuning in from X.
Okay. All right. I guess that's it. We're done.
I guess that's it.
All right.
So, as Carol Burnett would say,
peace.
Have a good night.
We're out of here. We love y'all. See y'all next week with a wrap up of the review of the Cowboys and NFL week. We'll have manager B. Boach probably for the final time. Our cousin George is back. Maybe JJ, probably not. We probably should have had JJ this week just because of the Micah trade, but we couldn't get him on. His hair is having issues. And tune in next week. We appreciate all y'all. And until next time, be safe. And that's all I got. That was a terrible sign off by the lead guy here. Let's just end it in the misery, right? Peace. We love y'all. We're out.